To add to the strangeness of everything, you believe there was also cloning involved with this operation. Is that right?
Yes, I do. Yes, I think that they were repopulating using human cloning. That for some people, they'll think that that's a relatively new concept, but of course, we know it isn't, because if you studied the Bible or you've ever read Genesis, then you'll see the reference to Adam's rib being taken to create a partner, and that is how they originally, before we have the technology we have now, that is how you would clone, remove a rib. So there you go. Right in the Bible, in Genesis, you have somebody taking, God, if you like, taking the rib from one person to create another. Now, if you're not a follower of the Bible and you believe that the Anunnaki created us as a slave race, or the Elohim, well, it's the same thing. They created, mass produced, if you like, the Homo sapien. So whether you believe in the Bible or whether you believe in the story of the Anunnaki or the Elohim, we are talking the same language. We're talking about human cloning. And some would argue that Genesis and the story of Adam and Eve is a metaphor. Well, it may well be a metaphor, but whoever wrote that was telling you the procedure to clone a human being. So it doesn't matter whether it was a metaphor or not. That book was written a very long time ago. And what happened around the same time is a series of postcards became very popular in Europe and then across into America. And they were called repopulation postcards, and they depicted babies being plucked and born in amongst cabbage patches.
Yes.
Then we had the Alice Guy, the first narrated movie producer, Alice Guy, filmed, directed, and starred in the first narrated movie called The Cabbage Fairy, followed by The Midwife to the Upper Class, where people were going to cabbage patches and buying babies from amongst them. So it's been very much in plain sight. And then it had, obviously, in the 1980s, a bit of a revival with the Cabbage Patch doll, where Xavier Roberts stated that you couldn't buy one, you could adopt one. And if it was damaged and you sent it back to be repaired, and it couldn't be if it was not financially viable to repair it, it was returned to the child with a death certificate. Oh, so wow. It's there. All of this symbology is there. We had baby farms all over the world as well. Oh. So there was a mass repopulation program going on. And if you look at the population statistics, in 1776, the world population was 770 million. 100 years later, it's 1.4 billion. So it had doubled. But during the same period of time, 3.3 billion people died. That's not possible through normal reproduction methods.
The simplest thing I look at is how much we've advanced as a human race just since the 40s and 50s. And you're telling me that throughout thousands of years of human history, we were knuckle draggers and forming metallurgy through basic tools, all these things that were not indicative of advanced humans for thousands of years, but all of a sudden, from like 1950 to today,